We're going to solve a quadratic type equation. 5x to the negative 2 minus 17x to the negative 1 plus 6 equals 0. This is a quadratic type because it's 3 terms ending in a number equals 0. And if we can replace the variables with u's so that it looks like a quadratic, that will become clear. So the way we pick what u should equal is we look at the middle term and we let it equal that variable, x to the negative 1. Once we've picked that, then we figure out, okay, well if we square that, so if we square that x to the negative 1, what do we get? Well, we get x to the negative 2. And we see that that is our first term. So we can replace both of those with the slightly easier to deal with u squared and u, and solve the equation from there, which involves either factoring or using the quadratic formula. This looks like we should be able to factor without too much trouble, so let's do that. To multiply to get 5, we have 5 and 1. To multiply to get 6, we have 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. And those all need to be negative to get that negative 17 possibility in the middle. So we have to use the 5u and the u, and then we get to choose what we think will work best to get the 17 in the middle. Let's use the minus 2 and minus 3. So if we check out the outside, we get negative 15, and the inside negative 2, so there's our negative 17 that we want, so that is factored correctly. We need to continue to solve it, however, because we want to find out what the variable equals. So doing that, we have 5u minus 2 equals 0, and u minus 3 equals 0, setting each of those factors to 0, and solving from there. For the first one, we're going to add 2. So 5u is equal to 2, dividing by 5, u is equal to 2/5. And for the other one, we're going to add 3 to both sides, so u is equal to 3. So we found out what u is. We did, however, want to find out what x is, so we need to go back and plug in for those two u's what u equaled, which is that x to the negative 1. So x to the negative 1 is equal to 2/5, and x to the negative 1 is equal to 3. So one way to deal with this x to the negative 1 is, because we'd like it to be x to the first, or just x, we raise both sides to the negative 1 power. What will happen on the left side is negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. There's the x that we want. And on the other side, a negative exponent, we'll simply flip upside down a fraction, and we have 5/2. We can do the same thing for the other one. Raise both sides to the negative 1, giving us x equals 1/3. And there we have our two answers for a quadratic type equation.